Here's some more Fox slop. They didn't even bother to say what penalty you would face for making an illegal donation under a dead person's name.
Let's check in with Harris Faulkner. She has other top stories today. Harris?
Yeah, actually, Edie, there are a couple of stories we're watching develop right now. First, federal prosecutors saying they've broken up two of the largest human smuggling rings ever to operate in the northeastern United States. Now, the U.S. Attorney's Office is announcing indictments in the operations based in Toronto and Montreal that brought hundreds of illegal aliens into the U.S. over our northern border. Authorities say that this started happening in 2004, but they do say that there's no evidence that the ring smuggled any terrorists into this country. Also, a formal protest now from the Pentagon issued to China. This coming into our newsroom right now. A Pentagon spokesperson saying the U.S. is officially expressing its displeasure with a recent incident. Here's what happened. You may remember it was just last week. At the very last minute, China refused to let the USS Kitty Hawk make a planned Thanksgiving port visit to Hong Kong. The sailors were meeting hundreds of family members who then just had to turn around and go home. The naval aircraft carrier was rerouted to Japan, and now the U.S. taking official issue with China's denial of one of our ships. Republican Mike Huckabee picking up an endorsement from Jerry Falwell Jr. Huckabee got the support after speaking at Liberty University in Virginia. Falwell Jr. is the university chancellor and today said his father, the late Reverend Jerry Falwell, had said Mike Huckabee was his first choice for president. And Huckabee, a former Baptist minister, giving his take on his surge in the Iowa polls, he credits a higher power and the prayers from people across America. Well, politicians raking in the dough from some unusual donors, the deceased. A new study in the USA Today finding more than 160 dead donors have given more than $500,000 to White House candidates and political parties. Among the top recipients over the past 8 years include the Democratic National Committee, taking in more than $200,000 in dead donor donations. More than $93 grand went to the Republican National Committee, and Congress got about $73,000 from people who are no longer with us. Edie,
Can you say Cook County? You remember back that far? My parents talked about it for years. It's Cook County, where dead people vote often.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
And give money, apparently.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
After spending about 15 seconds on the illegal campaign donations, they followed it up with this crap. Apparently, any facial expression you make can be considered evidence of a lie.
A political firestorm growing over a Bill Clinton apparent flip-flop. The former president feeling heat after telling his wife's supporters that he was always against the war in Iraq. But critics say that his previous statements on Iraq aren't quite that clear. Jim Engel tracking this latest development on the campaign trail live in Washington. Jim?
Hello, Edie. Well, these remarks are a little mystifying because President Clinton has long taken a pretty hard line on Saddam. For one thing, as president, he signed a resolution declaring regime change in Iraq official U.S. policy. And in 1998, his administration also bombed Saddam Hussein's facilities for 3 days to destroy what the president described as Iraq's nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons programs and its military capacity, he said, to threaten its neighbors. Then in 2004, after the war started, former President Clinton told Time magazine that after al-Qaeda attacked on 9/11, President Bush had to, as Clinton put it, try everything possible to make sure that this terrorist network and other terrorist networks cannot reach chemical and biological weapons or small amounts of fissile material. That's why, the former president concluded, I supported the Iraq thing. Senator Clinton has made arguments just as clear both before and after the war began. In fact, in the run-up to the war, she went further than other senators of either party by throwing al-Qaeda into the equation.
He has also given aid, comfort, and sanctuary to terrorists, including al-Qaeda members.
Now, arguing that Saddam was giving aid and comfort to al-Qaeda makes your vote on going to war pretty clear. The Clinton campaign has responded by saying both of them were always in favor of letting the weapons inspectors finish their work when President Bush invaded. But back in 1998, when President Clinton bombed Iraq, he said the inspections were a sham because Saddam would simply evade them. The Clinton campaign also says, Edie, that the former president was reluctant to speak out during the debate over Iraq. But since Hillary was a senator arguing persuasively that Saddam had weapons of mass destruction and was a threat to the region, it may be that he just didn't want to contradict his own wife. Edie?
All right. Thank you very much. Well, what the president said is one thing, but what about his body language and the language he's using now? Take a look.
Even though I approved of Afghanistan and opposed Iraq from the beginning, I still resent that I was not asked or given the opportunity to support those soldiers. So what did we do? We borrowed the money to give Bill Clinton a tax cut and pay for our soldiers.
What he's referring to is that he feels that tax cuts, the money that went to tax cuts could have gone to military operations or in some way better use in the country. Well, Tanya Ryman's new book is called The Power of Body Language, and she's got the former president in her sights right now. So what does the body language tell you? We have the quotes from before. We have the video of what he said yesterday. Anything speak out to you?
The one thing that caught my attention was the fact that after his first sentence, he did what's called a tongue protrusion. He stuck his tongue out a little bit, and what that told me was that he suddenly became uncomfortable. Normally, he's very charismatic. He has very good body language. He stuck his tongue out and then kind of caught himself after a moment. So as you watch, you have to really be looking at him, and you'll see the tongue come out slightly, and he kind of takes a second, and he regains his composure. But it wasn't as smooth after that. It seems as if he said something that perhaps he wasn't thrilled about and then went, and
sat back there.